Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Wednesday, July the 7th in the year 2021. And no matter if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast or if you're watching us on YouTube or WKYC.com, I want to thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes a part of your day. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter as well, and Locked On Buckeye. Lined up for today in segment 2, we talk about an announcement that Gene Smith said in an interview on Tuesday. On segment 3, there was a little addition, 2 additional people that were at a linebacker outing. Will they be a part of the linebacker group in the fall? Stick around to speculate if that's true. But before we get to any of that, I want to remind you to make sure you check out the Locked On Big Ten podcast, because there's simply no better place to get all the news on the Big Ten Conference than with Big Ten Ben Stevens and the Locked On Big Ten podcast. Follow the Locked On Big Ten podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast. It was Monday afternoon. It's relaxing. I got a couple days of free time on Monday and Tuesday. I decided to do a little extra podcast stuff Monday morning, and then Monday afternoon, your boy was free, relaxing, enjoying the day, the little extra stuff on Twitter, and then a boom came, and boy, oh boy, was it a boom. Oh, might I add, if you are on Twitter and you don't follow CJ Hicks, I thoroughly encourage you to. For this reason, and this reason only, I normally don't say this about high school athletes, but if you want to know when a big announcement will be coming in regards to a recruit who will be committed to be at Ohio State, follow CJ Hicks. He won't tell you who it is, but he'll give it an insight or a little sign that something big will be happening. CJ Hicks had a tweet, and I'm just waiting. I'm waiting. Who will it? He put a tweet out on Sunday. Boom, on Sunday, it was... Oh, my goodness, I forgot. JT Tuimoloau, there you go. And then on Monday, put another tweet out, and then Kojo Antwi, 6 foot even, 190-pound receiver from Sewanee, Georgia, at Lambert High School, is the latest individual to join the 2022 recruiting class. This recruiting class has 4 wide receivers, 1 5-star, 3 4-stars. The 5-star is Caleb Burton. Then the 3 stars, Kojo Antwi, Kyon Graves, and then Caleb Brown are the 4 stars that are there in this recruiting class. Brian Hartline does it once again. I'm going to tell you a little bit story about how Brian Hartline altered this young man's, Kojo Antwi's, decision-making as far as his recruiting before going into a couple of details about him as an athlete. So Kojo Antwi, I believe in early June, his plans were to shut down his recruitment. He kind of had everything already settled, already wrapped up. He knew where he was going to go. Brian Hartline got that news, got that memo, and he said, whoa, we're going to call timeout on this operation. Let me do some magic. Let me go into my lab. Let me contact this young man. The next thing you know, I went down and I checked the timeline. I think Kojo Antwi ended up visiting Texas A&M before visiting Ohio State. And Brian Hartline, I don't know what this young man does, but man, he is good at the recruiting. He got in there. He flipped the entire recruitment, changed things completely, because at the time, Ohio State was not a part of this young man's plan. That changed very quickly when Brian Hartline got in there. And I believe right now, via 247 Sports, Brian Hartline is the top recruiter for the 2022 recruiting class. That's how good, that's how prolific, that's how deadly he can be in this recruiting and on the recruiting circuit. So Kojo Antwi, 6 foot even, 190-pound receiver out of Lambert High School, 4-star recruit. Number 13, if you look at the 247 Sports composite rankings, number 13 recruit in the state of Georgia, number 16 wide receiver in the class. This young man has an athletic build, good size and mass. He can line up outside or inside, and that's one thing you like about Ohio State receivers. You see it with Garrett Wilson. You'll see it with other people. Jackson Smith and Jigba might be able to move back to the outside if need be next year, depending on personnel and how things go. There's plenty of wide receivers coming, and you're going to need more and more and more. And the versatile ones like Mr. Kojo, I can say Antwi too, but saying Kojo, it's a whole lot better. So versatile athletes and receivers like Kojo are things that Ohio State will love. Ohio State will thoroughly enjoy having on the roster. He gets off the line quick and on top of corners very, very quickly. You can look at numerous highlights, numerous routes that he ran in games, and you can see that this young man, when it comes to getting off the line, he does it smoothly. When it comes to getting on top of the corner. Now, when I say on top of the corner, and you those of you watching WKYC.com or YouTube, will be able to see Jay try to maneuver and show this. So right here, you see that's the corner, that's the receiver. And they're going this way. So that's the corner, that's the receiver. Kojo Antwi, of those of you that are watching, they meet here. Let's say it's press man. They meet, and then Kojo gets on top, and the receiver's playing catch up. Try to do that. Those of you that are watching via YouTube, WKYC.com, you might laugh at Jay and say, Jay, what are you doing? But you got the gist. Corner, receiver, they meet. Kojo gets on top, and then the rock keeps going. Does that very, very well. One thing I look for when it comes to receivers, DBs as well, a lot of corners and safeties, did they run track? Now, Kojo Antwi ran track as a sophomore in high school. His time was, not that good, 11.88. That's not that good at all to say he's an efficient or fast individual. I would not say that. He did run the 4x100 relay as well. Last year's stats, 44 catches, 795 receiving yards, and then 9 touchdowns as well. Had another 48 catches, 679 in the air, and 6 TDs during the 2019 season. Kojo Antwi becomes the latest person to provide the boom to Ohio State and join the 2022 recruiting class. Before we get to the very next topic, it's a big old sign that things are going to be looking very, very good at Ohio State. You got to take some time to talk about our good friends at BetOnline. BetOnline is the fastest, easiest way to bet on all your sports action. Baseball season is in full swing, and you can track all the action at BetOnline. Get all the latest news, odds, and info for all your sporting needs, including MLB, NBA, NHL, and all your UFC/MMA action. Before the next pitch, head over to betonline.ag on your laptop or mobile device and check out all the great sporting news, sign-up bonuses, and even contest information. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore, as this is your chance to get into the game as teams prep for their runs to the playoffs. Head to betonline.ag on your laptop or mobile device to sign up today. And when you do, make sure you use that friendly promo code locked on. It's all one word, LOCKEDON, and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, your online sports book experts. If this is your first time listening to Locked on Buckeyes, I want to say welcome. Or if it's your first time in a long time watching or listening to the podcast, Jay wants to say welcome back. Locked on Buckeyes has so many phenomenal ways for you to enjoy this here podcast, keeping you up to date on the Ohio State football and basketball teams. I understand Apple Podcast recently had an update about a month and a half ago, and some of you might not be getting the new episodes when they're released. If you're one of those people, don't like things that hamper or that interfere with us enjoying anything in life. But if you do, or if you are a person that has something blocking you from getting this podcast on the Apple Podcast, the podcast can also be found on Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast. I'm drawing a blank. The TuneIn app. You also have Himalaya. So many phenomenal ways, including the Odyssey app as well. For not sure how I left that one out to the very, very end. So if Apple Podcast does not work for you, there are so many other ways. And I venture, if you're a person like me, you probably have at least two of those apps on your phone. So there's really no reason at all to not stay up to date or to miss an episode of this podcast, Locked On Buckeyes. So I was talking to one of my friends earlier this year, and both of us are looking forward to going to a game in the fall. But now we're not sure what game, if any, we would be going to. This is back during our conversation, because at that time, Ohio State at full capacity was not a thing. And so we're trying to find time to enjoy a football game while enjoying each other's company and having a good time, goofing off, laughing, making fun of each other, the things that friends do on a regular basis. So Penn State said 100% full capacity. Indiana University said 100% full capacity. And when I told my dad that little nugget that IU would be at 100% capacity, my dad said, ooh. First thing he said, not when. First thing he said was, are the tickets on sale? I said, Dad, they just announced it. I don't care. Are the tickets on sale? My dad was so wanting to go to the game because my dad and I are planning to go to the Indiana versus Ohio State game. It's not far from where my dad and I live. So my dad and I will meet up, go to the game, and enjoy a game. We usually go to one IU football game every single year. And if Ohio State comes to town, that is the game that we go to. Just to give you a little tidbit, the first time we went to an Indiana University versus Ohio State game, it was 2015. We all remember that season, and some of us remember how that game went. If it wasn't for Ezekiel Elliott and a game-saving tackle on the last play of the game, really, Ezekiel Elliott, everything he did, if it wasn't for that game-saving tackle at the end of the game, Mr. Xander Diamont, third-string quarterback, almost was a hero. No, sorry, buddy. If it wasn't for that, Ohio State would have lost before the Michigan State game, and Urban would have been answering a whole lot of questions, things he was not expecting to answer when he took that trip to Bloomington during the 2015 season. But I believe Minnesota, September 2nd, first game of the year, will be full capacity. And now, in a very subtle way, and I described this to my friend, the same person I was talking to earlier, that Gene Smith, in a classic old man way, he went out and said, yeah, full capacity, full steam ahead. Yeah. Now you got to worry about this Delta virus. But yeah, these are his words, not mine. Got to worry about the Delta virus, but we're planning on having full steam ahead. Fans, tailgating, full steam ahead. And I'm just sitting here thinking, can I contain myself? Can I keep my emotions in check? Will I be able to just relax and not allow the emotions to overtake me? Or will I be somebody that finds a way to explain, not really behind the mic, this was not the plan, but it's about to come now, how I feel that the Ohio State Buckeyes inside the shoe will have 100,000 strong when they start the season in the fall. It all starts September 11th, 9/11. The Oregon Ducks fly across country to Columbus, Ohio. I know. They are not very they're not big fans of that 9 a.m. local kick time, 12 p.m. Eastern, noon kick for Ohio State. Big noon kickoff. We understand it. We know exactly what that means to the Fox Sports and that broadcast to kick off their coverage and kick off the day of games on Fox, the network. But no matter what Oregon thinks, Ohio State fans are going to be rocking. They're going to be ready to roll. They're going to be so hyped, so excited. Why? Because they're back in the shoe at full capacity. So sell that baby out as quick as you can. Why? Because Buckeye fans got to show. We got to show everybody what it means to be a Buckeye, and also just how excited they are that they are back in the horseshoe. Oh my goodness, I'm excited. I'm excited, y'all. Now, I'm a person, this whole entire year, well, year and a half or so, I've been in some football games, high school wise. Didn't go to a Colts game this past year. No, I didn't do it. I don't know why. Didn't go to any NFL game this past year. Not sure why. Didn't go to a college football game. Was supposed to go to a March Madness basketball game, but for some odd reason, I paid for the ticket and my money got sent back to me because the sender said the person I was buying the ticket from said they couldn't send it electronically, which makes no sense. Well, they said for COVID reasons. Side note, let me go down this track real quick. So I was supposed to go to a first-round game NC2A tournament. And all of a sudden, for some odd reason, I went through the StubHub, and the person I was buying the ticket from says, due to COVID restrictions, we cannot transfer the ticket to you electronically. And I'm trying to quickly understand and wrap my head around why in the world, when things are supposed to be done electronically, why can it not be done electronically right now? Didn't make any sense. If I shared the email with you, which I no longer have, but if I shared it with you, you would say, Jay, this makes no sense. And that was exactly what I was saying when I read the email. 100% capacity in the fall. Trust me, I'm not at a loss for words. You can tell right now, I'm at a loss for words because this is big. This is huge. One of the best things about Ohio State is the fans. People like yourself. People like me, people in the media that cover Ohio State, people that are fans of other schools, people that are in the media from other schools. There's always a lasting impression when they come to the shoe. Their team may even win because Ohio State's not 100%, not undefeated at home. Losses happen. They are kind of expected at sometimes to happen. Sometimes you're not sure when they're going to happen, but we know losses are possible anytime you step on the field. But Ohio State fans, people like yourself, they're part of the reason. You are the reason. You specifically, I'm talking to you. You are the reason that Ohio State, a big part of the reason that Ohio State is viewed the way that it is in the college football world. Because you're wild. You're crazy. You fit the topic, or you fit the definition of a fanatic. Fanatic, you fit that definition. You go wild and crazy for your Buckeyes. Win or lose. Win, emotion. Lose, emotion. Pick six, emotion. Touchdown run, emotion. Touchdown pass, emotion. The ups and the downs, the highs and the lows, you ride with them, and you are a big part that Ohio State is viewed the way that it is in the college football world. And I can't wait to see you, yes, you, watching or listening in the shoe in the fall, because, man, this is the way that football, Ohio State football, is supposed to be. Let's celebrate very, very quickly. When we come back, there are not just one, but two people that Jay saw, and maybe you saw them as well, in a picture at a linebacker outing. Who are they? What does it mean? Stick around to find out. But first, check this out. This episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning? Is your Odyssey an LX or an EX? And wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing the only brand their warehouse happens to carry. You have computers with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. Save time and money when using Rock Auto. Why choose to spend 30%, 50%, even 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or car dealership? Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. Go explore their easy-to-use website today to find the solution to your auto part needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck right locked on in there. How did you hear about us box? So they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. Did you know that Built Bar has 9 delicious flavors, plus the occasional limited time flavor as well? When you talk to a Built Bar fan, they're definitely passionate about their favorites. If you don't know the Built Bar flavors, well, you're definitely missing out. Coconut, even cherry barcia, and raspberry and mint brownie and double chocolate and salted caramel and strawberry and even orange, cookies and cream, and even German chocolate. And available this week only, July 6th through the 9th. Get the new Built Bar flavor grasshopper cookie. What does it taste like? This is Built Bar's version of the classic thin mint cookie. All the flavor without all that sugar. 150 calories, 17 grams of protein, and only 5 grams of sugar. Go to BuiltBar.com and use that promo code LOCKED15, LOCKED15, all one word, and you will receive 15% off your next order. Once again, go to BuiltBar.com and use that friendly promo code LOCKED15, and you will get 15% off at BuiltBar.com. And as we roll on and wrap up this episode here of Locked On Buckeyes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. On Twitter this week and over the next few weeks, Jay has started to put together the rankings of the best college football player since the year 2000. Numerous matchups, one of the first round matchups, and these were all randomized. Started it on Monday. There's a matchup on Tuesday as well. The most voted on matchups so far, like I said, these matchups were all random. Sean Taylor, former Miami Hurricane, and Tim Tebow, former national champion and Heisman Trophy winner from the University of Florida. The winner of that poll, over 300 people voted. It was Sean Taylor. Tim Tebow goes out in the very first round. Like I said, these matchups were randomly put together. So Wednesday, if you get up early on Tuesday or even late into the morning, early in the morning, Tuesday there's matchups, the fresh matchups on Wednesday, fresh matchups on Thursday, and the second round, the Sweet 16 does start in this bracket on Monday, July the 12th. So follow me on Twitter at jsteven07 and get together. I think first round matchup is Braylon Edwards versus Justin Fields. Little Ohio State, the team of North action. Randomly, Jaden put that together, but we all know who will win. I don't know why I said that though. That's so fast. I have no idea. Sometimes when Jake gets going, things start to roll and go out very, very fast. Could be why he's happy. Could be why he's excited. Also, a thing that got me a little excited, something that got me a little happy. So there was a little outing. Looked like these athletes were at Topgolf, and Al Washington was in the picture. And in the picture were all the linebackers. A group of young men that needs some addition and needs some people there to really make this group deeper. Yes, you may want 6, you may want 7, but you will need more than that, because one thing you don't know about is injuries. You're not sure how well these guys will play when they're in a starting role. But there are 2 guys that weren't a part of the linebacker group last year, but might be a part of the linebacker group right now. Pele Naoti, the cousin of Haskell Garrett, the former USC Trojan, who is now a student at Ohio State and many think will be a part of the football team if he's not a part of the football team already, and Still Chambers. Still Chambers played both ways in high school, played running back and played linebacker, and was a pretty good linebacker as well. I think he's a good running back, but I do also think that the possibility of him playing at linebacker, buddy, I am excited about the possibility of it happening. Someone said with Pele Naoti, PG the fourth, as I may call him now, since I know how to say his name fluidly, I might go ahead and say Naoti, just like Tua Malowau. I might just go ahead and say that thing, because when Jay finds a way to say some names very, very quickly or swiftly, he will say them over and over, just like Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't know when I figured out how to say that, but sometimes Jay likes to flex. The linebacker room. Not much experience. The current linebacker room. Do you know who's starting? Do you know who's going to be the hybrid? Do you know who's going to be the bullet, as often called, or sometimes I may call it a robber, or the rover position, whatever you want to call that 4-2-5, where you're not a safety, you're not a linebacker, you're not a DB, or you're not a corner. You're kind of just floating back and forth between all 3 levels of the defense. Who is that going to be? I have my thoughts. I'm not sure yet. But when you go to the Mike and the Will, who's going to be your starter? Not really sure. But if you can get a guy in PG the fourth, playing Naoti, who played at USC, and if it wasn't for injuries, he might still be a Trojan right now. The USC can really use him on their defense when you have Keaton Slovis. I've heard his name often also called Kedon Slovis. Not sure what his real name is, the real pronunciation of his name. But Keaton Slovis would love to have PG the fourth on his defense right now because it really makes his job a whole lot easier. The offense gets the ball back in favorable field position. PG the fourth roams and controls things on defense. Keaton Slovis can be the quarterback that he wants to be out there at USC. Ultimately, PG the fourth decided to move to Ohio State to go to school. I do think he's playing the football. I don't think he'd be at this outing if he was not. I could see if it was a team outing, and having him there with his cousin. But Haskell Garrett's not a linebacker. He's not at a linebacker outing. It was just linebackers there. And I do think the group of Taraj DeMitchell, Craig Young, Mitchell Melton, who I think is still hurt, Reed Carrico, Cody Simon, Tommy Eichenberg, Convon Pope, Cade Kashersky, I hope I said that correctly, and the other linebackers that are there, they'll welcome in Still Chambers. They'll welcome in PG the fourth, Pallade, Naoti with open arms. Competition is good. I think that Al Washington would love to have the 6'2", 250-pound Naoti on his defense, someone with experience, someone that has seen some different things in Pac-12 football, because that just makes Ohio State that much better at the linebacker position. Guys, this has been fun. We have some things lined up for Friday. We're going to do them today, but with the news that came out, those got pushed back till Friday. But as you know, if Jay has something planned, have a little fun. News is always most important, and that'll dominate the space on Friday. Guys, you could follow me on Twitter at jsteven07. Make sure you get involved in the Twitter poll, the battle to find out who the best college football player since 2000 is. I think Braylon Edwards versus Justin Fields will be on tomorrow. Well, today. I forget if it's Wednesday or Thursday, but I think it is on Wednesday. But if not, it will definitely be on Thursday. Have some fun with it. These matchups are randomly put together, which made Sean Taylor versus Tim Tebow a whole lot more fun, and which will make Braylon Edwards versus Justin Fields fun as well. Before we get to the next day of polls, before we do any more voting to find out who the best college football player since the year 2000 is, I want to remind you to make sure you check out the Locked On Today podcast, because it is a place to get all the sports news you need in under 20 minutes with the Locked On Today podcast. Host Peter Bukowski updates you on the latest news in every major sport with the help of our local experts. Follow the Locked On Today podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your fine podcast.